Did you know that some of your closest relatives might be secretly draining your energy and affecting your well-being as you get older? It might sound shocking, but the truth is, some family members can cause more harm than good as we age. In today's video, we're diving into the 5 relatives you should consider avoiding after 65. From those who demand your time and energy to the ones who unknowingly damage your mental peace, we'll explore how certain relationships can negatively impact your health in later years. And trust me, number 4 will completely surprise you. So, stay tuned as we talk about how to spot these toxic dynamics and handle them for a happier, healthier life. Section 1. The overly dependent relative. There's always that one relative who seems to be in constant need of help. They call you for everything, from minor favors to major life decisions. While it might feel good to be needed, this dependency can quickly become a burden. This relative doesn't just ask for help occasionally. They turn to you as their primary source of support, often expecting you to drop everything for their needs. They may not even realize it, but over time you may start feeling more like a caretaker than a family member, and their dependence can put a strain on your own well-being. The impact on your health can be significant. When you're constantly available for someone else, it's easy to neglect your own needs. You may find yourself stressed, fatigued, and overwhelmed by the pressure to always be there for them. This can affect your physical health, leading to symptoms like headaches, sleeplessness, and even a weakened immune system. The emotional toll can also be just as heavy, leaving you feeling unappreciated and drained. Over time, this imbalance in giving and receiving can lead to resentment, damaging the relationship and leaving you feeling exhausted. It's important to recognize that you can still love and support your family without sacrificing your own mental and physical health. Setting boundaries is key. You don't have to say yes to every request or become their constant caretaker. It's okay to acknowledge that you have your own life and responsibilities to take care of. By establishing clear limits on the help you can offer, you empower yourself to protect your well-being and avoid burnout. Delegate support to others when possible. If this relative has other family members or friends who can assist them, gently encourage them to reach out to them as well. It's essential to create a more balanced network of support. You can even offer advice on other resources they might not have thought of, without always being the one to jump in. The goal is to avoid creating a dynamic where you're their go-to person for everything, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and drained. In the end, it's about preserving your own energy so you can maintain a healthy and fulfilling life. By setting boundaries and sharing the responsibility, you can still offer your love and care to your family while avoiding the exhaustion that comes with being the sole source of support. Remember, taking care of yourself is just as important as taking care of others. Section 2. The constant critic. We've all encountered that one relative who never hesitates to point out our flaws, no matter how big or small. They may act like they're offering helpful advice, but in reality, their comments often leave you feeling criticized and inadequate. Whether it's how you live your life, the choices you make, or even the way you look, they seem to have an opinion on everything. This constant critique can wear you down over time, making you second-guess yourself and feel like you're never good enough. The impact on your health can be profound. When you're constantly being criticized, even in subtle ways, it can take a serious toll on your mental well-being. You might start to experience feelings of anxiety as you constantly worry about what they'll think or say next. Over time, this can erode your self-esteem, leading to self-doubt and even depression. It's not just the big comments that hurt, but the small, constant jabs that chip away at your confidence. Eventually, the emotional strain can affect your physical health, contributing to stress-related symptoms like headaches, fatigue, and trouble sleeping. One of the most important steps to handling a constant critic is learning how to deflect their criticism. You don't have to engage with every comment they make or take their words to heart. A simple, non-reactive response can help diffuse the situation, like acknowledging their point without getting defensive. You might say something like, "I appreciate your opinion, but I'm happy with the way I'm doing things." By remaining calm and composed, you can protect your mental space from being consumed by their negativity. In some cases, it might be necessary to limit your contact with this relative altogether. If their constant criticism is seriously affecting your well-being, distancing yourself might be the healthiest option. You don't have to sever ties completely, but setting boundaries around how often and in what context you interact can help preserve your peace of mind. Be clear and respectful when expressing your need for space, and let them know that their comments are no longer productive for your relationship. Ultimately, the goal is to protect your emotional health and prioritize relationships that lift you up rather than tear you down. While family is important, it's equally important to surround yourself with people who support and encourage you. By setting boundaries with the constant critic, you can reclaim your confidence, reduce stress, and create a more positive environment for yourself. Section 3. The Guilt Tripper. There's always that relative who seems to have a special talent for making you feel guilty, whether it's for not spending enough time with them or not doing enough to meet their expectations. They have an uncanny ability to manipulate your emotions, often leaving you feeling like you're constantly falling short. Even when you have other priorities or simply need time for yourself, they play on your sense of obligation, making you feel as if you owe them more than you can give. They might say things like, "I guess I'll just have to do it all alone," or "I thought you'd care enough to help me." These guilt trips are their way of pulling you into their needs, even when it comes at the expense of your own well-being. The impact on your health is significant. When you're constantly subjected to guilt, it wears down your emotional resilience. The more you give in to these feelings, the more distress it causes. This can lead to chronic stress, which can manifest in physical ways like headaches, stomach issues, or even insomnia. Over time, the emotional toll becomes more than just a passing feeling. It can create a cycle of anxiety and emotional exhaustion that affects both your mind and body. The guilt tripper's behavior can take a major toll on your quality of life, making you feel overwhelmed and drained. It's crucial to recognize that you are not responsible for managing this relative's emotions. Standing firm is key in handling a guilt tripper. You don't have to apologize or feel obligated to meet their demands, especially if it's at the cost of your own happiness. Responding with empathy but firmness is an effective strategy. For instance, you could say something like, "I understand that you're feeling this way, but I need to take care of my own needs right now." Acknowledging their feelings without giving in to the manipulation helps keep the balance in the relationship. If the guilt trips persist, it may be necessary to set stronger boundaries. Politely but firmly explain that while you care about them, you cannot be made to feel guilty for living your own life. It's okay to say no without feeling like you're letting them down. Sometimes, the guilt tripper needs to hear that your limits are non-negotiable for the sake of your own mental and emotional health. Standing your ground doesn't make you a bad person. It simply means you're taking care of yourself, and that's essential for long-term well-being. Ultimately, handling a guilt tripper requires a shift in perspective, recognizing that their manipulation isn't your burden to carry. By refusing to give in to emotional manipulation and setting clear boundaries, you can protect your mental and physical health. This not only improves your well-being, but it also teaches them the importance of mutual respect in relationships, ensuring that you can still maintain a caring connection without sacrificing your own happiness. Section 4. The Perfect Relative. Have you ever had a relative who constantly talks about how perfect their life is? Everything seems to go their way. They have the ideal job, the perfect family, and flawless health. They never seem to face any challenges, and they make sure to remind you of how well things are going for them. This relative often projects an image of perfection and, without realizing it, creates an unspoken expectation for you to live up to their seemingly perfect standards. Whether it's their success in their career, their picture-perfect home, or their seemingly flawless relationships, they make you feel like you're falling behind. The impact on your health can be serious. When constantly exposed to someone who portrays their life as perfect, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. You might start feeling inadequate or like you're not measuring up, even when your own life is filled with achievements and experiences that matter. This feeling of inadequacy can lead to stress, anxiety, and a lowered sense of self-worth. Over time, it can contribute to depression, as you start believing that your life will never be as good as theirs. The pressure to live up to an ideal that may not even be real can be emotionally draining. It's important to understand that no one's life is perfect. We all face challenges and setbacks even if they aren't visible on the surface. Your relative's portrayal of perfection is likely just that, an image, not the whole truth. Life has its ups and downs, and just because they choose to highlight only the good doesn't mean you should feel like you need to keep up. You are not in competition with them. Recognizing that perfection is an illusion can help you shift your focus from comparison to self-acceptance. Instead of allowing their version of perfection to make you feel bad about yourself, focus on your own happiness and achievements. Reflect on the things in your life that bring you joy and fulfillment, and celebrate your own milestones. By doing so, you'll begin to appreciate the uniqueness of your journey and stop measuring your worth against someone else's seemingly perfect life. Your value doesn't lie in trying to match someone else's standards. It's found in embracing your own path. Handling the perfect relative means setting boundaries around the pressure they unintentionally place on you. You don't need to engage in their comparisons or feel the need to keep up with their lifestyle. Practice self-compassion and remind yourself that your life, with all its imperfections, is beautiful and valuable. This will help you focus on what truly matters, living your life authentically and finding happiness on your own terms without being weighed down by unrealistic expectations. Section 5. The overly protective relative. We all have that one relative who insists on treating us like we're fragile, even when we're perfectly capable of taking care of ourselves. Whether it's constantly offering unsolicited advice, stepping in to help when it's not needed, or questioning our decisions, they seem to think that we're not capable of managing things on our own. This overprotectiveness can feel suffocating, especially when you've spent years building your independence and handling life's challenges without their interference. While their intentions may be good, it can come across as disrespectful and patronizing, leaving you feeling like you're not trusted to make your own choices. The impact on your health can be emotional and psychological. Constantly being treated as incapable or fragile can lead to frustration and resentment. You may begin to feel stifled, like your personal growth is being hindered by their overbearing nature. This can create internal conflict. On one hand, you want to respect your relative, but on the other, their actions undermine your autonomy and self-worth. Over time, this can affect your mental health, leading to stress, anxiety, or even feelings of helplessness. It may also create tension in your relationship as you start to feel like your independence is constantly being questioned. It's important to gently assert your independence when dealing with an overly protective relative. Let them know, in a kind but firm way, that you are capable of handling your own life and making your own decisions. You might say something like, "I appreciate your concern, but I've got this covered," or "I'm fine making this decision on my own." By calmly and confidently setting those boundaries, you communicate that while you value their care, you also need the space to be self-sufficient and trusted to handle things your way. One key approach to managing this situation is to emphasize your autonomy in a way that feels positive and empowering, rather than confrontational. Let your relative know that you are still the same person they've always known, but you've grown and gained the confidence to navigate life on your own terms. This reassures them that you're not rejecting their care but simply asserting your desire for respect and space. By doing this, you can maintain a healthy balance between gratitude for their concern and the need for personal freedom. Ultimately, the goal is to preserve a relationship built on mutual respect. While it's natural for relatives to want to protect you, it's equally important for them to recognize your independence and trust in your ability to make decisions. Gently but firmly asserting your autonomy helps maintain a healthy dynamic, where both you and your overprotective relative can feel secure in the knowledge that you respect one another's boundaries. Conclusion: As we've seen, certain relatives can unknowingly affect our well-being as we age, but setting boundaries and asserting our independence is key to maintaining healthy relationships. Remember, your happiness and peace of mind should always come first. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to leave a comment below. Are you dealing with any of these types of relatives? Comment if you relate, or go if you're lucky enough to have a drama-free family. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.